Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Today I'm taking a look at the latest expansion to Neuroshima Hex, the latest faction. This is Pirates for Neuroshima Hex. So in this game, of course, you have multiple factions and you are going to be picking one of those. You're going to be taking it up against your opponent or opponents. Though I normally play 2 players. And then seeing who triumphs, who comes out ahead. I am going to just be showing you the content of the expansion here. I'll show you a little bit of, what's going on in it, but I'm not going to be explaining how Neuroshima Hex works, okay? I've got plenty of videos if you want to check that out, though, so be sure to, if you want to jump into the game and see what it's about, be sure to check out one of those. But without further ado, let's go ahead and see what's going on with these here pirates. So here we're taking a look at these pirates. They were having a little bit of a battle, as you can tell, with the Moloch over here. I'm going to explain a couple of the things that I want you to be aware of with the army, okay? The main twist here is them using the spaces outside the central area in order to place and move units in there, okay? So these pieces are meant to represent adjacency between these spaces, this and this, and, same thing, this and this. And then some units can go in those spaces, all right? They have to have a specific symbol shown here. That's called the drift symbol. And if units have that, they have to go out there. This area is supposed to be water, all right? Every unit with drift, when you put it out there, will sit there. We'll be able to obviously interact with everything on terra firma in here. And then at the end of every fight, all of the tiles out here in the water will drift. So you're supposed to, after a fight is over, take all of them, and they are going to drift around. So if they are, I'm going to put this guy right here, for example. That's my HQ, by the way. When they all drift, they all are supposed to do so simultaneously. You move them one over clockwise. I can reposition it if I want to. If they are here next to one of these connecting tiles, they just connect over it to here. All right? So I can, again, reposition this guy if I wanted to, and this goes over, and I could do that. All right? So that's all of the drifting ones, and there's several drifting ones in there. A few other things that are featured in here that you're going to see and are going to be interesting and unique ideas shown in these in this army itself. So we got the wave over here. The wave is interesting. You play that. It's a little bit like these fellas' bomb. You play this, and it's going to damage 3 spaces in a row next to the water. So if I did it, for example, and I could choose this that's right here and deal 1 damage there, 1 damage there. So again, it's these 3 or these 3, and so on. So that's the wave there. We've got one particularly cool fella. This guy here with the water gun. Water gun. And he's a little bit like the shotgun guy from New York, that army. You're going to place him out, and he's going to hit the very first one in line for 3, then 1 here for 2, then 1 here for 1. The shields would work the same way they work, but he just hits 3. Anything farther than 3, he will not hit. We've also got the crocodile here, who's got a charge ability, and a charge ability means if he is somewhere like there and he attacks, takes something out, you may charge into that space and then reposition the crocodile if you want to. And obviously you can see it attacks at initiative 1 and 0 again. So that's the crocodile there. And there's a few other ones. They have one special new tile, which is very interesting. It's positioned out here right now, actually. This is a new type of tile. It's called an implant. And what it does is it allows you to activate the implant. As long as the implant is on the board, you can activate 1 implant on the board. There's only 1 in this case. And activate its ability. This one, being the ability to start a fight, means that this army is incredibly effective in choosing when it wants to start a fight and when it wants to hold back and see what happens. Neuroshima Hex has gone to a lot of strange places in its many themed explorations. One place I was not suspecting they would go would be to pirates. Kind of Caribbean meets, I don't know, technological. There's a guy who has a hook, but the rest of his arm is a mechanical arm also. This is not a theme I was expecting, is my point. But another thing I was not expecting is for this box here, for this army, to have so many interesting new concepts in it. The idea of using the outer ring of tiles as water, to have units that can go in there and attack in and kind of float around the outside, drift, to have your HQ out there. And it's the only place it can go is out there, and it drifts along, to have it attack in only one direction, but it's a range attack. The whole thing, again, they managed to do this very frequently, yet I'm still surprised that they do it, that they managed to take the idea and make it so thematic in this game. And so I found the pirates here really worked well for me from a thematic point of view. I did not find them to be overpowered. I actually haven't won with them yet, though the games have been very close, so I'm not worried about the balance necessarily. But I found it to be a really engaging army. Some of the units in here feel kind of inspired by some of my favorite units that have been out there, like some of the units from New York, which is my favorite faction of all time. The water cannon guy here is very much like the shotgun guy from New York, and I really like that. I like the crocodile in here that has that, like, if he takes you out, he can charge into the space you were in and now attack again. It's things that are clever and interesting and work out well, but aren't too hard to grasp. Now, to be fair, there might be a lot of interactions here because of all the new ideas with the water ring and all of that stuff. There might be a lot of interactions here that I'm not foreseeing that are kind of clunky with some of the other armies. And that could very well be the case. That's going to happen. We are now, this is 20 or 21 armies, something like that, for the game. So there's going to be some weird interactions, I assume. I didn't come across any of those. I was able to decipher everything I needed to from the included leaflet that comes in here. So that's good. And I found, again, the units in here to be, the concept is sort of a high concept. The units are, for the most part, pretty straightforward. There weren't too many crazy symbols. There weren't too many bizarre cadence differences or anything like that. I thought it worked out very well. So, all of that to say, I looked up and wrote down my scores for the last few armies, because I was curious. I knew I really liked this, but I was thinking, what have I been rating the previous few? So the last three that have come out, chronologically, going, from the oldest, okay? The last three before this one were the Sand Runners, Troglodytes, and Beasts, okay? And now Pirates. Sand Runners I gave a 7 to. It was a fine army. It wasn't one of my favorites. It had some cool ideas that were a little bit tricky, I guess. So Troglodytes I gave an 8. Very cool. And then Beasts, which I did not too long ago, I also gave that one an 8. Also very good, very savage army. This one, I'm coming down at a 9 on this one. This one's going to get a seal of excellence from me at a 9, and I think that's a combination of a fantastic theme, memorable, inspiring units, some great ideas that are not too difficult to implement, and just a fantastic amount of flavor. Enjoyable play. It's just a fun army to jump in there and mess around with. I like playing with them. I like playing against them. There's some neat stuff going on. And again, story-wise, which I like to dig into with this game, this one opens up the door to a whole bunch of crazy matchups now that I can have all sorts of things going up against these pirates. So there you go. For me, 9 out of 10. Fantastic expansion. I really recommend it if you want something different. You want to see what they can do when they push the boundaries and avoid getting overcomplicated. They managed to do it right here. So there you go, folks. That's going to do it for me. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.